So let's get started. So I think most importantly, before we start in the next 70 minutes, 75 minutes or so, what is that you will walk away with, right? By end of this session, I think most important to understand why startups and innovation initiatives often fail. Second, you will gain insights into entrepreneurial innovation traits, almost like holding a mirror, finding natural traits and how to develop them. And next, we will leverage AI-powered startup and innovation ideas, how to quickly come up with relevant ideas that matches your profile. Or if you have an idea, how do you develop that into a project or a business model? And most importantly, how do you leverage a venture studio approach to from an idea, a business model, to how do you set up, launch, and scale, whether it's a corporate innovation or a startup. Most importantly, you can also strengthen your personal brand with a LinkedIn social share. We'll walk through that today. And those who actively participate, you will receive a certificate of participation as well. So that's the expectation. So I think yesterday we also shared about in a little pre-context, sort of how do you think about innovation or a startup idea? Right, idea, the root or foundation of an idea is actually a problem statement. There is a market need, there is an industry need, a burning requirement to be addressed or solved. Right, idea, that's a root of an idea. Right, so how do you come up with the problem statement? How do you identify future market need, and how do you sort of construct a required product or a solution addressing that problem and serving the future needs of a market? This is just an example that we shared in healthcare access and affordability. Let's say if that needs to be solved in the UAE, how do you sort of get started with the problem statement, future market need, and come up with a required solution? And how do you sort of summarize, construct your idea in 3-5 sentences, right? So hopefully, I'm hoping that most of you, if not all, have your own idea and prepared, and see how we can come up, transform that into a business model and go through the journey. And I think for that example, at the end of this workshop in the next 40 minutes or so, you should be able to see through, discover your own potential, find the relevant idea, and develop a business model like this. And I really hope all of you are excited to make this happen. Imagine in the next 30 to 40 minutes, you would have achieved this in this hands-on workshop. So with that, I think before we get started, I think it's very important to understand why most startups and innovation often fail. Right, 90% of either innovation initiatives or startup fail. It's most important to understand why so, because having more of the same doesn't help or doesn't create any impact, right? I think we need to fundamentally address how do we sort of build a sustainable innovation and sustainable startup, leveraging all the proven methodologies, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about, and in fact, begin at least your journey on this workshop. So let's look at some of the factors. If anyone would like to share, maybe we can take a minute. Please feel free to unmute yourself. And if you want to share some of your thoughts on, a couple of factors, why do you think some of the reasons why most of the startup and innovation fail? So anybody feel free to share.
Founders, they disagree and they break up.
Okay, good point. Founders, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Actually, for me, because I have also startup and I'm facing all the problem with the marketing mainly. Marketing is the main issue for the failures.
Okay, going to market. Got it. Thank you. Let me just talk through some of the key aspects, right? I think one is a market and a customer misalignment, right? So then maybe, we start with an idea, but actually there is no market need, right? Nobody is looking. It's not a burning issue. Nobody is willing to pay for it, right? That could be one. Timing plays a very important role, right? I would say among the top 5, I would say, timing is very critical. You have to solving something where it's the right maturity. It's on the right scale of a maturity curve. I imagine there are solutions, some of my colleagues in the industry were solving regarding a tap and payment, right? 20 years ago. They tried 2 years, 3 years, and they failed. Today, everybody is tapping and paying. It's just that they were too early in the market, right? I think timing is very critical. And also targeting the wrong customer segment. So obviously B2B, B2C, your business model, different segments, different markets, right? I think picking the right segment to solve is very critical as well. The other area, it could be business model or the financial issues. So typically we've seen startups running out of cash, initial bootstrapping, either, family, friends, angel investors, or if they don't generate cash flow, they tend to run out of cash. Or it could also be pricing or a revenue model flaws, how they're presenting to the market. Next is about I think one of the point mentioned is the team. Team is probably most important. You may have heard many investors saying that I rather invest in a team A with a plan, with the idea of a B than a, idea with A and team as a B, right? So team is very critical, plays a very critical role. The founder, the co-founders, how do they complement each other, and how relevant experience and skill sets and the knowledge they bring to take on the journey. It could be a weak founding team, or also execution matters, right? How do they set up, launch, and scale, which we're going to talk about, or even the strategy of that. So that could be also another, root cause. And the next fourth one is about product failures, right? The solution and the services. Maybe there is no product market fit, right? I think it's very critical within maybe 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, maximum maybe 12 months. It's very critical to achieve the product market fit and unit economics before the startup or innovation can be scaled. All right, or it could also be low quality, low product quality, or a solution quality. The user experience, user interface matters a lot. A lot of it today is led by design thinking. So that could be another reason why. Or initially we call it MEP, right? A minimum viable product. It's very critical to build a minimum viable product solving a few pain points than just continue to spend a lot of time overbuilding, trying to build every feature required, and that could also be an root cause of a higher failure rate. The fifth area could be the external or ecosystem factors. It could be competition, it could be regulatory or legal challenges, and today we live in a economic and a geopolitical shocks. So those are also could be causing, right? One policy decision by somebody can actually make a huge impact on the problem that we are trying to solve, or innovation or a startup journey. So the last one is actually the founder mindset and the decision making. So it could be lack of focus, or passionate about solving the problem, how committed they are on their journey, and what are the reasons why they are in this journey, and maybe ignoring the feedback from the initial interaction with the market and early customers or early adopters, or maybe not paying a lot of attention to data, drawing information and drawing analytics and making decisions. So, some of these are generally we've seen those could be the root causes, right? But the good news is, obviously the innovation and the entrepreneurship we've evolved globally over decades. And what is very critical, as I said, it's not about starting, it's about being successful, discovering your own potential, taking on a relevant idea, setting up, launching your startup and scaling it into a impactful venture, right? Almost -1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 10. I think that's most important. How do we take on that path? And if you look at the root cause of all these symptoms, I would say we see is that one, most importantly, the founder or the co-founders, they must have or cultivate, at least the traits, we call it natural traits, to be a successful innovator or entrepreneur, which we're going to go through this. And most importantly, today we live in a world, right? And everything can be done faster, better, repeatability, leveraging knowledge, at least have a strong foundation. Obviously, I said leveraging AI, we should be able to do that. That's the second aspect. Third is leveraging a venture studio-led execution approach, right? Venture studio model is like institutional co-founder model, where there is a clear steps, what to do, when to do, how to do. I would say almost like a Chinese manufacturing excellence or a maybe Toyota 2K model, and repeatability, scalability, all that is built in, and one can actually adopt that playbook approach of a studio, leveraging in combination with AI with a hyper-personalized journey of an innovation and entrepreneurship, which we're going to see through today in the next couple of minutes. And most importantly, innovators or entrepreneurs, actually, they need relevant access to the relevant enablers. It could be the team members, maybe initial interns to build with when you're bootstrapping, or maybe you need a co-founder, you need a right kind of a co-founder to join hands to make sure all the 8 different functional areas are complementary in nature and covering all those areas. You may need to work with the relevant mentors who has been there, done that, can bring expertise from the industry or their own entrepreneurial journey. And most importantly, you may need access to the relevant investors at the right stage, right? So, access to the community of those enablers are very critical for every innovator and entrepreneur. And we're just going to touch upon all these 4 aspects today in the next 1 hour or so, so that all these are available at your fingertips, and you will see through, and some of the initial exercise you will do it yourself. So with that, let me move forward. So I talked about those essential traits, right? Today we don't, if we have to go from point A to B, we just use the maps, right? Or if you're driving in a 2-wheeler, we wear helmet for our own safety and drive, right? We don't. So I think similarly in any innovation entrepreneurship journey, it is very critical to understand what is those natural traits that I have, right? As an entrepreneur, as an innovator, as a co-founder, right? And those areas, some of those areas are some of these, 5 different areas, and you have these 32 traits, and that can be, you can identify that in no time, right? So let me not spend a lot of time because you're going to experience this yourself. So most importantly, how do I discover these traits, right? So you can actually figure this out in the next, in just 4 steps in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to share the details over the chat. Here is where we will have 2 sessions, working sessions. I would request some of you to volunteer for participation so that you can actually share your screen and walk through so that everybody else can follow while you're doing it. So please do raise your hand when, if any of you can volunteer to, go through this, at least the session 1, and then session 2, we probably need more volunteers as well. So, so what we'll do is we'll spend 2 minutes to sign up to an AI platform and complete your profile and go through a self-assessment and do a social share, right? So that's what we're going to do in next 15 minutes. And let me see if I can share that. So here are the instructions. I'm going to put it in the chat now, the 4 steps that I talked about. And, select your preferred language. On the right bottom, you see English. Let's say you prefer in Arabic or any other language, feel free to change the language that you prefer to go through this journey. And next step is you have to choose the role which actually best describes you, right? Let's say you may be a builder. You could be student, professional, or entrepreneur, or an enabler, a startup mentor, or a startup investor, consultant, or a service provider. So select a relevant profile that matches you, and then click on the sign up now. So here you will put your email address and choose your own password, right? And with that, you will get an email with a code or a PIN that you will use to join. So Zakir, feel free to stop sharing when you access your email and enter the code to complete the next step.
Yeah, I think I will have to do that.
Okay, feel free. Just in case, if you don't find the email code OTP in your inbox, just check your spam folder. Just in case, the next 2-3 minutes, we should complete the step. Okay, there you go. Thank you. So go ahead and select. See, the more now I think we are on the step 2, completing your profile. So 2 minutes finished. Number 1 finished. Number 2, you have to make sure that you complete your profile. Imagine the first 5 minutes you spend will define your journey on the platform, because it's an hyper personalized AI platform. Anything, every data point that you're actually setting up your profile will make it very relevant to you. You will see that in the next 10 minutes maximum. So please take that 2-3 minutes and select. So Zakir, you can actually start typing. Okay, there you go. You can also start typing. Okay, so this is where you will define whom do you want to network. Remember, one of the element is that, let's say I want to connect with a student who will be intern. I want to connect with a mentor who will mentor me. I want to connect with an industry expert. I want to connect with an investor, right? So whomever you want to sort of your preference to connect on the network, on the platform, please go ahead and select those. It can be multiple, right? Let's say I want to connect with a mentor and an investor as well. So you can select as many as possible. Okay, go ahead. Because on the platform, AI recommended, AI matched, those will be brought to you on the platform based on your instinct. Okay, so this is like your LinkedIn, right? If somebody looks at, let's say I send a connection to the mentor or an investor, what should they know about you? LinkedIn, you have a headline, just a brief couple of words, one sentence of how you would like to introduce to somebody. I've shared what is very critical for this platform is to complete a minimum of 80% of your profile so that your journey is hyper personalized, right? So that's very important. Either you can do it now or you can do it later. The way to do it is, see, at home, when you go, there is click a button, there is a complete profile, right? There is a profile. So if you click on that complete profile, okay, there you go. Whatever the information which is missing, it'll just bring up that, right? Only if you need to, provide, please provide this. Maybe it'll take about a couple of minutes. Possibly you can actually do this later. The more information that you have, it is better. Your experience is going to be better. If not now, later on, you can actually complete this profile before you progress to Idea Lab, which we're going to go through. So you can actually close this out. Zakir, we can do this later. Okay. So first is we're going to, obviously we're going to sign up, complete our profile, step 2, and then we're going to take an entrepreneurial assessment, right? This will take about, depending on how fast you can do, 5 minutes to maximum 10 minutes. Okay. So Zakir, please click on the take it now. Okay. So now don't start. See, please note that you will be asked 60 questions, right? It's a scenario, right? If you're an innovator, if you're an entrepreneur, right? It's a statement, but it is a timed statement, right? In 5 minutes, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it will disappear. So all you have to do is agree or disagree, right? You will finish this in about, some people have finished in 4 minutes, some people have taken 6 minutes. So maximum, I think 6 to 8 minutes, you'll finish it. So when you start assessment, right, you will get a question, you will agree or disagree. You will have 60 questions, and in 4 minutes maximum, I think approximately, you'll finish it. So how was the experience? I guess looks like you did it on mobile.
Yes, sir.
Because you joined. So it's very important. At least the next steps, you should be on desktop and laptop. So how was the experience, Ahad?
I'm a computer science student, so I expect a little more, sir.
Okay. How did you do in the assessment?
Not bad. Assessment is good. It was not lagging at all.
Okay.
The login dashboards and all of them should have been a little better.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah, you're on mobile. It's not mobile ready yet because it's a heavy app,
Okay.
and it's made for desktop and laptop.
It's for
Okay.
desktop better. Yeah,
Okay.
I should have tried on that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But how was the overall experience? I mean, the questions, right? What were you thinking through when you were going through those questions?
Questions were impactful. Questions are impactful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. just going to quickly go through the chats so far, what we have. Lack of network effect and support. Okay, Rebecca, thank you. Problem identification and market fit. Okay, thanks, Rebecca. Fail to execute. Thanks, Asif. These are the, I guess, the points that we had talked about, the root cause of failure. Zakir, thank you. Failure to identify value addition and demand. Business analysis and market understanding. It's all about fear of execution in financial. Dr. Ahmed, thanks for challenges identified. Both are valid and well recognized. Thank you for comment. Shiv, time execution. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts on the ideas. Sorry, I'm just reading those now. Moving from TRL 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, Zakir, perhaps the biggest challenge, bootstrapped investors. Absolutely. All right. We will have some wonderful business ideas coming up in the next 20 minutes. Okay. So let me share when you finish your assessment, right? What is that you will see, right? When you finish the assessment, you'll be asked for an there will be a rating, assessment rating, right? You will be asked for an acceptance level from 1 star to 5 star. So based on what you think is the right assessment, wrong assessment, you can actually define your acceptance level and click on the view report, right? When you click on the view report, right? You can do this later also if you're not doing it. You will get a social, card like this, wherein you will have, let's say you're selected an entrepreneur, your name, you're a builder, right? This is your assessment. In this case, Miss Amina took 7 minutes, close to 8 minutes. Our assessment rating is 80%, 4 out of 5. Rating is high. Our confidence level is exceptional. And, in her case, she's accepting the level as a strongly agree, right? Rating, right? Overall rating you will get out of 4 out of 5 rating level compared to others on the platform and the confidence. And you can actually describe, do you agree or not, right? If you want to share this on a social media, you can actually click on this LinkedIn icon or Facebook icon, and you can actually share this with the word that, hey, you are on the journey to be innovator or entrepreneur. And let's say when you say, I'm just going to share how this is shared by others. Let's say, for example, this is a serial Web3 entrepreneur. This is his third journey. He's raising the funds. Last year, he started his journey. Now he's raised the funds, through the platform. This is his third entrepreneurship. And he's been able to, grow through the journey in the last 1 year on the platform. 1 year ago, he started his journey on the platform, right? And when you share your social card, this is the kind of card that you will get when you rise, right? So when you look at the summary, you will have a social share and you will have a summary details, right? The profile details that you have submitted. Let's say in this case, Miss Amina has completed 97. She's innovating on 2 projects. And your profile also based on benchmarking, it'll have an automated rating, right? And the assessment, you have an overall assessment that you saw. Basically, that assessment is broken into those 5 areas that you saw in the presentation, right? Which is basically, remember we talked about the 5 different areas of those entrepreneurial traits. Those are the 5 areas and the 32 traits. You're actually get a sort of a mirror view on what are those areas and how you're rated. And most importantly, we'll also learn what are those areas and what are the relevant traits and how you're rated on each one of those areas, right? So that's a summary. You can download that report. And most importantly, you get an AI insight, right? It's about you, like a brief summary, right? What is the assessment summary about yourself? What are your key strengths? And what are the areas that you can improve upon? And what is that you can do about it over next 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, right? That's a good best in 5 minutes you get an summary of that. If you don't want to share this with somebody, you can actually download this separately and keep it with yourself. Or if you want a combined report of a summary and an AI and insight, you can actually go through this detailed report. You will also get all those you saw, and also you'll get all those 32 traits, right? What are those traits, right? So it's very important for me as an innovator or entrepreneur to understand each one of those and then look at the assessment and basically develop it from here, right? One example, right? Goal driven. Let's say why it matters, right? What it is, why it matters, And an example, let's say Mr. Larry Page, he was very goal driven, right? Who was passionate about organizing global information, and outcome is Google, right? And that's a kind of a trait. So similarly, you can learn about all those traits. So now the assessment is done, right? So this is the first session that we wanted to do. I think looks like very few of us are actually doing it. So let me just walk you through the steps and show you. So hopefully, maybe post this workshop, you can do it, right? So now, once the assessment is done, your profile is all set. Obviously, you'll have some of these questions, right? What are the relevant problems that I can solve? What is very critical is relevant, right? Not anything and everything. In the innovation entrepreneurship journey, we talk about, I'm sure many know about product market fit, right? We say there should be a product market fit. But before that, there are obviously in the journey, there are many fit that we talked about. I think the beginning fit you need is a founder should have a fit with the problem that the founder is solving, or with the market, right? They're solving. So it's very important, right? Sort of how do you find that? Right? How do I discover the relevant problems based on my profile, right? How do you find a market problems or industry need, right? I want to solve something, the market that I'm in or industry that I'm in. How do I find that, right? How do I construct or develop my idea, right? And how do you set a strong foundation of a project or innovation or a startup, right? Or how do you develop a business model, right? So I'm just going to take maybe next 5 minutes and showcase this. If you have done it ourselves, so we could have actually done this over next 5-10 minutes. But in the interest of time, let me just show you how you can do it yourself on the journey. So let's say once you're set up, your profile is done, assessment is done, you can actually click on the Idea Lab, as you see here. There are two paths here, right? Right now, I don't know. I don't have any idea. How do I get started, right? So you can generate an idea. So what this does is that based on your profile, it could be many parameters coming in. You will be able to come up with several ideas, which will be basically categorized into 3 different options. And you'll have a summary, okay? A brief idea summary will show up and categorize in 3 different categories, which is very relevant to you, right? For example, let's say based on my profile, Zubair, I think I do see your hand up.
The questions were very good, very relevant. I don't know about the results. I just saw it and then I just raised my hand, right?
Sounds good. So let's proceed. So, this is where the exciting journey starts, right? Based on your profile, you will get 9 different ideas relevant to you, which you can develop, categorize in 3 different categories. Because of my profile, I'm in the tech, I'm in the global startup ecosystem, I'm in the skill development, right? You looked at my profile, came up with 3 different categories, and under each one, I have an idea, right, which is presented to me, right? So let me just skim through, and I'm just going to pick up one of the idea. Let's say, I'm really passionate about global startup mentor network, because I think that is the biggest challenge, the founders connecting with the right mentors. So maybe I want to work on that, or maybe entrepreneurship mind, so these are the different opportunities. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to pick this, right? So you can do this later on. So let's say I'm going to select, okay, this is the idea that I want to develop it, right? Now at this stage, what it does is it actually goes and sort of refines, what I've picked in terms of the area. And then it comes up with a brief, let's say idea and a description and just an identity, right? So the idea is global startup mentor network, and a brief description of what, this is going to be. Obviously, remember, this is about working with AI, right? Not blindly just following the AI, right? So I can modify whatever that changes or modified description of the idea that I'm actually working with the AI, but modifying it, right? So in the, so I can change that. You can also change the identity of your project, right? Now I'm going to say, go ahead and create a project, right? So I'll showcase what is the project means behind the screen. It will actually go through and comprehensively set up the project, right? What should be the vision, mission, I will showcase what it is setting up right now. in less than few seconds, the project setup is done. I'll show you what it has set up, right? And I'm saying generate a business model canvas, right? This is maybe the third or the fourth click. At this stage, what it is doing, olden days, we used to have 12 to 15 page of, let's say, a detailed business plan. And if you were to present that in a A4 sheet, one sheet, we call it business, business model canvas or lean business model canvas. There are various versions, but you will see here lean business model canvas. So it has already generated a business plan, a canvas, which you will see now. So in less than 2 minutes, I'm able to identify 9 relevant problems in the marketplace and pick an idea, and I'm able to come up with a baseline of a business model, right? Imagine, if you were to learn, you are a student or an innovator in a corporate world or, right? So it's a challenge. So you get a strong baseline to get started, okay? Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, right? Oh, what about it's my idea, right? Privacy, everything. So good news is that whatever you generate using AI on the platform and whatever you type or contribute, it only belongs to you, one, and we don't even store it. The reason is we use 124 encryption, your user ID, which is only when you log in, right? On the client side, we encrypt it. That means we don't store the data that you generate and produce. We only store the junk data. Without you logging in, it means nothing to us. So in terms of any idea, confidentiality, support, only it belongs to the user, and only they can see what they generate and what they type, and not even the ecosystem partner, right? Let's say we work with globally many ministries in the government, policymakers, many education institutions, high school, colleges, universities. We work with corporates, enterprises, or even we work with the incubators, accelerators, startup and innovation ecosystem. They come back and say, we need the idea. But the problem is, we say we don't have access. Only the innovator, entrepreneur, the builders can actually share what they're building, right? So that's most important. So you don't have to worry about it. So you basically got a complete path of discovering relevant ideas that you saw, which actually takes 5 minutes, right? And the next is how do you sort of develop a business model, which I've already showcased that, right? So now there was one path where I did not know what I want to develop, and we saw how I can use this model, right? The second path that we talked about, right? Let me go back, right? So we just did this. I'm able to identify relevant ideas, right? Next is how do I identify market problems and the industry needs in a given market? Okay. So welcome to SimC Copilot. You're on the platform, you have a Copilot there. All you have to do, just like ChatGPT, if you're using ChatGPT, similar to that. But this runs on, apart from LLM, our own LLM, playbook, business models, and then very relevant to your journey of innovation and entrepreneurship. Let's say I've just said, hey, list of problem statements, the future market needs required in the UAE for a startup to ideate through Idea Lab, right? You will get plenty, right? You will get hundreds of ideas. Let's say now we the UAE 2031 vision, can ask what are the things we can do. We can pick a relevant problem, right? So in the interest of time, I'm just going to copy this, right? And develop this idea, right? So for example, the way I do it is that, I'm going to go through let me just quickly, I'll remove this project. I can only ideate on 3 projects. So that's why I'm unable to generate more ideas. And let me go back to the Idea Lab. So we already covered using SimC Copilot, how you can identify the market problems and the industry need, right? And you select something, and then you will come in and construct developing your idea, right? So for that, you will go to build my idea, right? This may be your startup. You already started, but if you want to fix the foundation, because we have seen, in our experience, 90% of the startup actually don't go through the structured approach They feel it, they have a gut feeling, I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. I'm not saying that something is right or wrong, but there is a proven model, a structured approach that is available to you on the fingertips. So if you are a sort of, let's say, a startup or an innovation in a corporate world, you can actually summarize that, what you're planning to build in 2-3 sentences, your own idea, and you can bring it to life. So Anand, I think you have a question. Please go ahead, Anand.
Yeah, hi, Satish. Thanks for the opportunity. I saw the SimC Copilot thing. It's when you ask about relevant UAE related stuff, it gave you an answer, a comprehensive answer. My question is it connected to the internet? Is it up to date with the news and updates, or is it just generating stuff like an LLM? So, when you're asking for a particular market or a particular idea related activities, it should be aware of the latest things available in the market, right?
Sure, absolutely. Very good question. Answer is yes. It is the latest and the greatest. You know how all the LLMs have evolved. This is on the public because you're using a public cloud, right? We also work with a lot of corporate world, let's say bank and or a ministry. They want to have data in one country or in their building. We also deploy this platform in a private cloud, right? Wherein you bring in a LLM, private LLM, and deploy it on top of it, our playbook, our models, and then the layer is working on top of it. Answer is yes, Anand. Both, it's in the public and it's the latest and the greatest. You can do research, everything, probably you will do on any of the LLMs. Is that, but this is very relevant to innovation and entrepreneurship because it's coming off of our playbook. Okay, Anand?
Okay.
That helps?
Yeah.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay. All right, let me, okay, so I was here. So, you have your own idea, just construct that as we shared in 1 or 2 sentences and click the next button. Is basically the same steps that you saw in the previous. In the interest of time, I'm not just going to take more time. I'll just show you what it actually produced, right? I believe we actually shared this over last night. I think our team has shared with all of you. You will get a comprehensive business model canvas for your own idea that you came up with, right? So I think this was shared by our team last night, and you can download this. You can download this. And from there you can evolve, right? So that's a part that now we are able to cover. That okay, I have my own idea. I'm able to construct and develop my idea and set up a project and develop a business model, right? I think we just covered this. Let me just show what is the project. I think it's most important, and what is the project and how the business model can be refined from there, right? So, all right. Okay, let me edit one of the project, right? See, until now, everything that you saw, whether the SimC Copilot, network, all those things, it's all available for free in your own language, because our vision is to make sure that we democratize both the innovation and entrepreneurship. Everyone has a potential. We want to help them discover, bring the ideas, and give them a path to construct that into either a successful startup or an impactful venture in the corporate world or in the startup or innovation world. So that's our mission. So it's everything until you saw is available to you for free, right? So let me go to the next step. So now we did this. We developed a business model. So I'm just going to quickly touch upon how do you refine the project, how do you refine the idea, and then get on to execution, right? So what actually AI generated on the background is this, right? So, it will actually fill all these details for you to review. And also one is getting educated, right? Okay, I need to have a stage, for example, right? I may be learning, ideating, setting up, launching, scaling, maturity, right? So you are actually learning every critical component of the innovation entrepreneurship journey, the sector, industry, right? I got to have a core values, right? What that is, right? AI would have generated, but obviously you can refine, learn and refine. It would have generated a mission, vision, right? So this is the foundation of a sort of your innovation or a startup, right? And the next one is, we call it 360-degree view, 10 pillars, right? These pillars are very important for any innovator or entrepreneur, right? and you will learn about each one, right? One example, right? Okay, you got to have a plan, right? Innovation, startup, you got to have a business plan, right? What it is, right? Similarly, you have to do market research, MVP development, you got to have IP, project IP, you have to build your team, core team, you have to think about sales and marketing, you got to have financial management, the legal, the fundraising, the exit strategy, right? Let's say we're not going for an investor, even the corporate innovation, it needs to be funded, right, as a portfolio. Obviously, some of these things needs to be almost you have to operate like an entrepreneur outside within a corporate world, basically entrepreneur, right? That's what Studio provides, a corporate innovation path, right? So the good news is that as you're making progress, you can actually improve this. Let's say now started planning progress halfway done. Again, AI today. Let's say, for example, if my MVP is 80% done, if I move my cursor, it's hyper personalized input for you as a user, for your project, for your profile, for your project, for this MVP development, moving from 80% to 100%, making progress. What is that you should do? You'll get an input. Let's say, I'm just taking an example, exit strategy. I've not thought about exit strategy, right? I'm a startup. If I need to bring an investor, how do I make scalable money, create value, and share it with the investors and the journey? I need to think about exit strategy on day one. And, it's basically, I'm at 0 right now. It is telling me what I should do, right? Begin conceptualizing your exit strategy by analyzing different options, such as acquisition, IPO planning, conduct primary research, right? So it's basically, I'll not take more time. So, these are foundation. We call it 360-degree view, view pillars, 10 pillars. Next is about team, right? I talked about whether a single entrepreneur or a set of co-founders, strong foundation of a team. We emphasize on that one, right? So obviously, what's going to be your role? Some of the data points, also your topics, interests, and your relevant experience matters, because based on this, we will bring the co-founder. You may have heard Y Combinator co-founders or others, how to build co-founders. You'll be able to build your co-founders on the platform. You can actually access student interns to work with you and the co-founders, right? So you have to define what is your goal, experience, and all those. So for example, according to Studio approach, an entrepreneur should cover, or a startup or innovation should cover all these 8 different functions in terms of skills, experience, relevant to the problem and the market that you're solving, right? Cross-function, business. So I may have only 3 or 4 areas. I may select my areas, but the areas that I'm not, I should actually look for a co-founder, because then only it's a comprehensive team, right? If I'm only in 3 and other 5 I'm not, I should actually select those 5 areas and say, actually, I need a technical, non-technical co-founder, right? So then the platform, you can actually hopefully find a co-founder as well. So that's basically building a team. Next, we talked about access to the network, right? Relevant enablers. You can actually choose. Remember, you had chosen when you set up a profile, by default it will come. But for this particular innovation and project, you can actually modify. If you need interns, what areas you need interns, you can define. And let's say if you need mentors, right? The good news is that we are also educating, right? If you are having a mentor, right? What is that you should actually have mentor for? What is out? What you should expect, right? You can actually learn what is that you can expect from a mentor and select the areas that you need from them, right? So let's say I need a mentor to establish brand, this thing. So platform uses this to bring those mentors with the proven expertise on this, so that you connect to the relevant mentor, right? So similarly, right? Every network you can actually define whom do you want and why do you want, right? So that you have. And the next is obviously very important for especially entrepreneurs, maybe corporate innovators. Again, this has to be justified internally for corporate funding. We are educating, right? What's your goal of funding, right? It's very important the kind of investors you want to bring. What kind of experience and what else do they bring apart from the money, right? I want an investor who can help me not only money, but first is build relationship and network, second support growth and innovation, maybe third, because of 1, 2, 3 and the opportunity and the model, they actually put money, right? So one can understand it's not just the money, right? You should actually look for these areas that investors should add value to my startup journey. And you can actually pick those. So basically, we will bring only those kind of investors who can actually contribute, not just money, but in these areas, right? So, and the kind of experience they should have, what stage you're raising money, right? How much money you're raising, and by when you want to rise, and a certain criteria for AI to match and bring you the relevant investors, right? So this basically sets up a foundation of a project, right? So that's the foundation. So on that project foundation, you can actually have multiple projects. In this case, you can have up to 3 projects, because what happens, sometimes you ideate and maybe you drop one and take the next one, right? So you can have up to 3 different projects. If you have multiple projects, you can actually grant access to edit and move forward, right? For every project, you can ideate, develop a business model that you saw. We are something called our own SIMC sustainability model. We want every entrepreneur, innovator, not just start, but build with a higher success rate for scalability, for impact. What I mean by, let's say success rate, we all know what the success rate globally. Scalability is we want entrepreneurs producing not average 8 to 12 jobs, right? We want entrepreneurs producing 50, 100, 1,000 jobs, right? So scalability and the sustainability, right? Sustainability, we talk about triple bottom line, the impact, not just about profitability, but the impact on the people, the economy, planet Earth, so those model is built, which I'm going to talk about. And then you get into execution step. There are 110 steps of setting up, launching, and scaling. You'll get access. So let me take and wrap this up in next 5 minutes. I'll showcase you. So when you edit your business model canvas that is generated by AI, first you will come up with this, right? Obviously, we want every innovator, entrepreneur on our platform to build the next Amazon, next Netflix, next Google, Facebook, YouTube, Dropbox, Airbnb, and Uber, and OpenAI, right? So we basically help them understand in the last 30, 40 years, who are the global successful businesses and what was their business model. So you can actually learn through them before you build your own business model, right? So AI would have already generated, but you can learn through this. And then once you edit, right, you'll be amazed how it is. Let's say there are certain steps in building a business model, right? There is a sequence also. Like first you have to think about a problem. Next is existing alternative, right? There is a sequence of 12 steps, right? And in the sequence, what happens when you go through the edit of that particular business model, this is actually made for you. No 2 people will see the same thing, because this is made for this particular, you as a user, for the project, for your business model, for your problem statement, and it is generated for you. For example, let's say this is about, it's a real world example, benchmarking. It is comparing with Y Combinator, right? It is basically giving you all the instructions in terms of how do you refine the problem statement, and then basically understanding how confident you are about this, what is the progress you're making, and what support you need, so that both AI and your enabler network can help you along the journey. Let us say AI would have generated a problem statement, but now all this, my knowledge, my human intelligence I'm bringing in, and I'm just going to modify this in my own word, right? My own word. This is now not AI problem statement, it is my problem statement, right? I make this happen, and then guess what? AI is always there with you. You can actually refine. Maybe my English is not good, right? So I refine that, and I pick the one AI recommends based on whatever I type, and I can pick and go through. So in the same process, you will go through the whole steps, and you will have your business model canvas, not the AI generated one, right? Which you can, again, this you can actually share on the social media. We are going to send this notes maybe via a Word document or a PDF. We will share this so that you can do it later. So you will have your summary and the project rating. You will have, remember, the 360-degree view of those pillars that I talked about, a rating on that one. If anybody looks at this, you exactly know where you are and what needs to be done on these 10 pillars. Trust me, whether you as an entrepreneur, innovator, or investor, or a mentor, everybody will look at these pillars, and you exactly know where you are and what needs to be done. And initially, when you started, remember every one of those pillars, what actually you should be doing, it's right there, right? To make progress, where you are, and to make progress, what should be the next step. You will get a hyper personalized inputs on this particular project. Next is about the, overall, and most importantly, each pillar. For example, you're going to the channel, what is the confidence, right? You will get an insight, right? So this is a summary. You can download this summary or your own business model canvas, right? Separately, which you don't want to share with anybody. You can share this with somebody you want externally. They'll only see pillars, but the confidential information you can keep it with you. And maybe a combination of both the summary report and the detailed report you can download and share it with anybody. Okay, I think we have done enough. I will just quickly touch upon and try to conclude and move on to the next step of question and answer. So remember, I talked about, I'm sure everybody understands lean business model canvas, what we just went through, right? I talked about the sustainability because we want entrepreneurs to build a sustainable startups and a scalable, impactful ventures, right? Similar to lean business model canvas. See, it's very important for an innovator and an entrepreneur to understand, thinking about the management and the governance structure, all the stakeholders, the kind of workforce you're going to have, for your business model, what is the business operations and the processes is going to be, and most importantly, identifying all the potential risk areas and prioritizing the impactful areas, how to measure them and set the targets, and how to define those KRI metrics 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. Right? It's very important, right? This may take a couple of hours, if not days. Very important to have this in place, just like a business model. This is our own IP available to everyone using the platform. Great. Let's just, okay, similar to the business model canvas, you can go through the sustainability mapping before you start executing, right? Then you will get a clear, sustainability rating and the foundation, all those details will be available to you. Just like the BMC report, you will have a sustainability report for your own startup, right? Again, this is very important, critical when you approach in any incubator, accelerators. We have seen students, working professionals, serial entrepreneurs, people in high school to people in 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, globally, going through this approach to really make a progress in their journey. It's all about a structured approach of, making every step. So when you get into execution of setting up, launching, and scaling, I think somebody is doing drawing, so kindly remove it. One, I think we just touched upon learning the key components of setting up the project, ideating, sustainability mapping, and then getting into execution, right? So in terms of execution, what is very critical is when to do, what to do, and how to do. Most important, right? It's like a playbook, right? So first step, identifying a problem and trends. Second step, evaluating the problem and trend. Third step, selecting a problem to focus on because not everything can be solved, right? Yeah. Fourth one, pinpoint the pain area and determine what needs to be done. For example, right? Somebody needs a surgery versus somebody needs a vitamin. Obviously, the willingness to pay, the urgency is in the surgery, right? You want to pick that kind of a problem, right? So you will go through, just like all the experience that you went through so far, you will go through the entire journey. Maybe it will take 3 months, maybe it will take 6 months, right? Setting up, launching, and scaling, launching into a startup and scaling into a scale-up venture, right? All those steps are there available to you in your own language, let's say hyper-personalized, made for you, right? You can start with the problem, planning the mission, assembling your core team, collecting all the ideas, determining the business model, sustainability mapping, right? The setup is done, right? Now launching your startup, right? Developing MVP, raising pre-seed capital, right? There are multiple steps, almost 8-10 steps in this phase of the fundraising, right? Building each functions and, setting up KPI reports. Now the launch is done. Now, obviously from 1 to 10, you need to scale, right? You need to raise growth capital, building the culture. So now you're transforming from a startup to a venture, right? You have to build the culture. You have to learn from all the data points before you scale, right? You have to optimize each function in your innovation and entrepreneurship engine. You have to set up the best practices and become an independent, either a successful startup or a scalable venture, right? So that is a journey. You go through this journey through a playbook every step of the way, and you can actually see through the progress you're making by stage, phase, function, stages. And then the beauty about this is that I just want to touch upon one. As you're going through, you can also track your progress on each one of the steps. And most importantly, on any step, you have a challenge that I don't know how to do this, right? You can ask for it. There is AI right next to you. It will actually recommend what you need to do. So in other words, for yourself, for your incubator, for your accelerator, for your mentor, for your investors, for anybody, everybody, at a granular level. Let's say step 1, identify problem and trend. I am actually at 20%. This is my last update on this step. This is the challenge that I'm facing. AI is telling me what I should do. But if I'm a mentor, I can say, do this, right? If I'm an investor, I can add value behind my money and hold the investor accountable that, right? Because they're in this together, right? So they need to work with entrepreneurs and the startups to make sure from the journey, from investment to their exit, they contribute to the growth of, basically wealth creation and distribution, right? So this is how structured at a granular level, the journey can be, taken. Now, similarly, I talked about you have a lot of mentors, investors. Remember, I told you LinkedIn Plus, right? Based on who you are, what you need for this project, for your profile, you actually brought together a global list of mentors and investors. Just like LinkedIn, you can look at their profile. Let's say Mr. Bilal, I think from Saudi Arabia, 90% profile rating. If you're just like LinkedIn, you can request a connect request, and they will see your profile. If they're relevant, they'll connect with you. And similarly, this is, let's say, somebody startup investor from Dubai, Dr. Anurag. Right, 4.5 rating. Projects they invested in. You can actually request a connect what they're doing, just like LinkedIn, right? And so forth, and so you can actually connect with the investors, and they'll accept. And most importantly, once you connect, you can actually chat with them, have a call, online call or a video call, voice call or a video call on the platform, and the journey can be continued. And let's say, like how working with any ecosystem of any ministries or any education, high school, college, university, or a corporate or enterprise or SME innovation in the industry, or even a startup and innovation ecosystem, incubator, accelerators, the free zones, other ventures, the administration of that ecosystem can be managed in one place by all the administration team. When we are partnering with the B2B, they can manage the entire administration. So most importantly, our platform is accredited by Global Innovation Institute in the US, and especially in Saudi Arabia and UAE, they're very well adopted. Our platform is now the GNI Innovation Platform Center globally. And in terms of the dashboard, your admin, they should be able to see anything and everything and see the progress they're making, and talk to them, collaborate with them, project profile. They can go to anything and everything in that terms of a granular level. So I think hopefully this give you how to network with the mentors and investors, network relevant ones, and explore this 110 steps that I just quickly showcased. All this available to you on your fingertips. You can now from here, right? What happens afterwards? So you can do it yourself on the platform. One. Second, we have all AI-enabled certification for all 8 personas: the student, womanpreneur, entrepreneur, even AI certified mentors, investors. You're an innovator in the corporate world. All those certifications are there on the Luma page. You can actually click on learn more. You also have managed services on the studio launchpad. So those options are available. So in nutshell, doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're high school and above, you have an opportunity to be part of contributing to the UAE 2031 vision. You can start with the assessment, education, skill development, pre-incubation, incubation, acceleration, fundraising, and market access, and really making an impact, right? Being an innovator, entrepreneur is the greatest contribution and shaping the future. I hope all of you had this valuable session. Hopefully take away good takeaways from here for you to think about and take it forward. So our request, we can only get better. We have got some feedback so far. We request you to submit your valuable feedback, one on the platform and also on the Luma page. Zubair.
Yes, I have gone through the. I had started my entrepreneurial journey maybe 25 years ago, or 25, or I think 30 years ago. I'm not sure about that. And Alhamdulillah, whatever you presented in the AI, I was doing it on a piece of paper and in my mind, and it not as organized as what you have done, but very similar. And mashallah, it has been done in a very good way that it is organized. Once it was organized, then I had to spend time and putting it on PowerPoint or something like that. This is done and very structured way. So it is amazing. But I have moved from being entrepreneur to a private equity, right?
Awesome.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. I'm so grateful to God for that one, that I've been through that process, and my objective is now to help the entrepreneurs to succeed, right? Not only with the money, but I think a little bit of experience that I have gained over a period of time, right? So
Sure.
my question here is that the how it is helpful for me. Yeah, this is good for me. I can explore some ideas and then find an entrepreneur, but normally I'm not doing it. So as a private equity person, number one, getting to find entrepreneurs, yes, this is a very good thing. But how can I get funding for my projects, the next round, the series B, series C, this type of thing? And then also business expansion. Sometimes you need help with business expansion. You don't need help with just the money, okay. You want to grow in this area, then you find someone who has experience of that area, and then you can work with them to see what is the best approach. So this is a thing that I want to understand, how this platform will help me in getting my objective. I mean, yes, I'm not saying I'm a big guy and I cannot start a new business right now, but I can and I should. But I'm being reluctant now because this PE journey is so captivating for me that I want to stick with that.
Sure. No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, great. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and then posting the question. So, one on the platform, right? Let me address this from an investor standpoint, right? You get a quality access to the pipeline, opportunities, startups,
Yes.
validators, structure, right?
Yeah.
The current way of due diligence is too expensive and too long, and it's not comprehensive, right? You can do due diligence comprehensively on your fingertips and decide to invest, right?
Yeah.
The third, portfolio management you talked about, right? See, in the past, VCs, investors, you have to have thesis, you got to have people, you have to have domain knowledge, you have to know everything. Thanks to AI today, right? It's democratized, right? Doesn't matter. You go invest in 100 verticals in 20 different markets, right?
Yeah.
AI is your first line of defense to support the entrepreneur. And obviously, it cannot be replaced the human contribution. So the good news is the platform can speak the language. So in other words, you as an investor, doesn't matter whether know the entrepreneurs, right? So all those barriers are removed. So what I mean is that through the structured approach, repeatability, scalability, and an entire life cycle of your investment journey, finding, validating, investing, portfolio, exit, all that is possible today. And you can take this in your own brand, as you saw, right? We are more like Intel Inside or NVIDIA today. You can be HP, Lenovo, Dell, or IBM, or Accenture, transforming your ecosystem. So all that made possible in the platform. Now, how do entrepreneurs access the ventures, right? So on the platform, there are, we have many angel investors. We are now in the process of validating, onboarding early stage investors as well. See, I think in my view, money is not an issue. I think there is plenty of money available. Only problem, and obviously we have great entrepreneurs, great ideas being built. I guess the investability, right? I think that the gap, hopefully that's what we're trying to solve. Ensure that their readiness, investability, and bring them together so that actually both are looking, right? I have an idea, startup, I'm looking for an investor. I'm ready to be invested, right? Or I have money, I'm an investor. I need to find the right entrepreneur problem who are solving the problem, right? So hopefully that we will fill that gap. So Zubair, hopefully that helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.